have my my new
Oh, he already
assistant.
started it. He didn't listen to you as usual.
Of course not. Why would he?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't listen to. He wants you to listen to him, but fuck what you have to say.
All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Trek Talk. I'm TechMan16.
Kirk.
Handy.
And on the stage, we got returning champions, Darius. What's going on, Darius?
Not a lot of.
And Occam's. Your mic's not set up right.
Fucking amateur hour.
I know. We're running a professional operation here.
Shit.
Someone tell Tech's kids to cry right now.
This is about as professional as the guy standing on the corner selling bootleg CDs back in 2003.
My mixtape, bruh.
Oh
No,
man.
dude, you could get the freaking all the Lord of the Rings on a freaking disc for like $5, and he'd even throw in a copy of his mixtape.
All right, can you hear me now?
We can.
Yes.
Anyway, Tech.
Yeah.
So why has Dark declared war against Trek Talk? Which, do you like my clickbaity thing there? Dark war against Trek Talk?
I think it was great. I think it was awesome.
People don't understand. A lot of people don't understand that Tech has his own alliance, and the alliance is called Trek Talk. But none of you realize that. So you were like, "What? An entire alliance has a war against the podcast?" And you clicked on it, and you fell for it. Congratulations. Enjoy.
Well, what did you do, Tech?
So
It's his fault.
it's totally my fault. There you go. Oh. So hold on, sorry. Kids in the background because I'm running a professional operation here. So it I don't know when it started, but it wasn't so much a war because like the actual term war kind of fizzled out the day of declarations, I guess. But Dark was ramping up. It seems like every other day they were hitting my base, and it's funny because I didn't really understand why until this quote war really happened. And so normally, like my MO is like if you tap my base, and either I block you or you get a little bit of it, it causes a nuisance to me. So I just go and to your territory because normally nobody that doesn't have a territory touches my base. So it's usually players that have territory. So I go into their territory and I knock off their miners, right? Or not, I mean like OPL ISO miners, right? Which creates more butthurt for everybody. But like I get over it and then I move on, right? But Dark was like literally hitting my base every other day or something, and even my own alliance mates, I'm like, dude, what did you do to piss them off? And I'm like, I don't even have the faintest idea. So there was one day that I was, lethal cracked my base, and there was a swarm of 35 ships that were raiding my base. And so this is the first time I encountered the raiding glitch because I couldn't log on for like 20 minutes while everybody was raiding my base. And finally, I'm able to log on, and somehow I managed to put up a shield before my game crashes again. And finally, I'm able to log on, and I see like 30 ships in the area. I see like 6 Kelvins. I see lethals, like giant pylum, and all these amalgams and discos. And I'm like, what is going on? Why does it take like 17 people to raid my base? Because I'm a level 38, and pretty much everybody in Dark is a higher level than I am, with the exception of maybe a couple people. So I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? And then I realized, because I tried to, I'm thinking, Lethal and I are good terms, so I hit him with a Rialta, and then somebody else cracks my base, and my game crashes again. And then all of a sudden everybody else starts swarming again, right? With max amalgams or whatever, right? So I lose about like 2 billion within a matter of like 20 minutes or something, which I couldn't really log on to begin with. And And so I didn't even understand this until I started talking to other people. And effectively, what happens is if your base gets hit by like more than one person or upper level 50, it forces your game to crash.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily limited to a certain device, but effectively the game crashes, right? So so I sent some very not nice words to Scopely customer service and Scopely community managers, albeit respectfully, but something to the order of like I expect this from a college computer science major, not from a multi-million-dollar company that is making a game that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And
Yeah.
effectively, they refunded me all the resources that I lost that were rated from me.
That's surprising, but it's good.
What?
It's
Damn,
good though.
congrats.
Yeah, they refunded well, I mean, they didn't refund it in terms of the actual resource. They refunded it in tokens. But
Even better.
I mean, it's like you can't touch the tokens. So I'm looking, and that's how I found out there's like 2 billion that was rated in that period of time that I couldn't defend myself. And so apparently that's been going on for quite a while and still goes on. Which is why every time that after that Dark kept hitting my base day after day. That's why they would bring in like 8 dudes at once. And it was so strange because I'm thinking like, what the hell is going on, right? And since I've been busy, right, and my habits are the way they are, and I sometimes forget that this glitch still exists, or as if you talk to some people, they call it a feature. Uh, you're able to get 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 loads, especially if you've got the players with the max amalgams to just scoop up whatever the percentage is and move on before I'm able to get online and put up a shield or repair or do something. In any case,
That's not a feature. That's complete fuckery.
Yeah, I have. So before anybody fucking starts with their bullshit, real quick, because I'm sure people are gonna start jumping into the chat or something like that. But number one, I have encountered the same thing, not on that grand a scale. What happened? I was online, and I was out in deep space, and somebody that was over level 50 hit my base to crack it, and they lost. However, as soon as the battle was initiated, as soon as I was trying to go back to look at, to click, go to base or, whatever the buttons, I could go look at the base and see who it was, my game crashed. And so luckily nothing happened to me because it was the first time they had hit me. So there was a 10-minute shield. So I didn't have any issues. So when I came back, I saw. And so I have experienced that, number one. Number two, I have seen people, there has been some people that very assly, whatever, they were smart asses and they said, well, Tech is just butthurt he got raided. That's not the case. Tech's upset that the fucking game broke. He doesn't give a shit about being raided. It's the frustration is the fact that there is no way to defend yourself. That you can't even pop up a shield or repair anything. There's nothing you can do. So that's where it comes from. So before anybody comes up to this stage or goes into that fucking podcast chat talking about somebody's butt hurt by being raided, you can eat. Well, you already know what I'm going to say. You fuck off. So there you go.
well, I mean, the worst part is during startup, I still get that scrolling thing about you have to complete some sort of mission dialogue before you actually access your base. So it's compounded by that, where I try to log back in, somebody's hitting my base while I'm trying to scroll through the dialogue, my game crashes again.
Turn that shit off.
You haven't turned that off?
Turn that shit off.
I don't know how to turn
Settings.
that off.
Go into settings and it's mission reminders. Turn that shit off.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's like one of the best features they put into the game.
I guess I never read the patch notes, nor did I really care. Whatever. So one of these other days, or it seems like they all blend together because it seems like it happens on a daily basis that Dark's raiding my base. My guys are trying to defend, and so one of the guys goes into Dark's TC and just wipes out all the miners. Doesn't matter dry hit or otherwise, right? And as soon as that happens, I get PMs and Discord notifications saying like, "Oh my God, your guy dry hit. It's the worst thing ever. Like I raped their mothers and killed them or something of that nature." Like it's just that is what triggered me. When as soon as something like that happens, I get the whole messages, shield or share. That's the rule. You broke row. You violated row. Tell your guy to stop it. Yada yada yada. I'm like, okay, all right, calm. It's like, I'm like, calm down. Like what? Like what the fuck, right? And then they're like, you could. And then somebody said, you could just send a message to the person that's rating you to tell them to stop. To which I can't even respond because how many people in dark actually pay attention to that? And two, I hated that whole holier than thou attitude. From the and this comes from the people that I've played with before, so it was doubly frustrating because it's like I know Dark's policy rap, and that you don't fuck with us, we don't fuck with you, and that's a unidirectional approach. And the approach the other way is we'll fuck with you anytime we like. So the frustrating part was when we sent some screenshots back and forth, I noticed that my alliance was Spock hands to Dark, and Spock hands in Dark means aggressive row or hard row or whatever you want to call
No, it does not. I wish people would stop saying that. The fucking Spock hands means raid often. That's all it is for help easy base spots. That's all it's for. We are not out there putting Spock hands so we can blow up your warship or anything like that. Or find you on a mine. That's not what it's for.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Same thing. Whatever.
I see the similarities in that, blow up their ship or raid as often as you can. I mean, either way, you're targeting someone. I mean, so there's at the end of the day, it's still you're purposefully searching someone out.
But when you guys have both been in dark, and you guys know for a fact that that's not how we do that.
When I was,
and you also know the long list of different alliances we have in there.
But so that's the thing, though. The discussions would go up and the questions would happen. I saw it happen in the Discord and in the GC rap when people would go, "Hey, can we mark them so we can target them easier?" So that's exactly what I'm saying. So if you're putting a mark on someone so you can better identify them to steal their shit, that's targeting people. It by definition. So I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's targeting people.
Whatever. So in any case, I was targeted for whatever reason. I don't know why. That doesn't even matter anymore. I don't really care.
Discipline, and you never move your base, so everybody knows you're an easy target that you get easy resources off of.
Sure, that's great. It's wonderful. Great way to mark me. I don't care. I mean, like I said, I don't care. I don't care that I get raided. I don't care that I lose some resources here and there. It doesn't matter to me. What mattered to me more was the responses. Okay, look, my alliance is 100 million in power total. I got 13 people, 100 million in power. There are people in dark that have 100 millions by themselves, and I couldn't stand voters and Dragon Silver's holier than thou attitude. You broke rule. You broke row. You raped our mothers. You killed them. That's on you, man. That's your fucking fault. I'm like, oh my God. My guys can't defend my base, all right, against all your dudes. The only other way to annoy you is to pick off miners, man. Like I couldn't stand that attitude. So that's why I told Dragon and Voter, I'm like, you want to put me KOS? Feel free. You're more than welcome to. You want to pick a fight? It's up to you. Have fun. Show me how big your dick is. Show me that you could take all your ships and crack my base with it. I don't really care. Anyways, that kind of fizzled out in after the first 30 minutes.
Oh, it's not a thing anymore?
No, it's not a thing.
Oh. Well, fuck, that was anticlimactic. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, when I read the fucking thing, I was like, what is he talking about? The dark? I thought you guys were talking about the dark had a war against the podcast. What the hell?
It worked. It worked.
Burn.
No, because his alliance is actually Trek Talk. That's the name of the alliance. So
Yeah, I use it for
that was
marketing.
so that's why I did it, because no one can say you're fucking full of shit. No,
The only
I'm not.
reason why you guys even got put on KOS was because I seen a screenshot that you sent to Voter of of Dragon talking to you, and you already had the targets on us. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's
What?
after Cobra told me that Dark put me on KOS or whatever for dry hitting.
Oh, is Cobra fucking Tom? Because he's not.
Yeah, but I mean, you
No,
know,
he said the Alliance put me on KOS. That's what the screen. What it doesn't like. It doesn't matter. I don't care. Like, really, Rap. Look, Rap. I like you, man. We've played for a long time together. When
We
you
drank
had your
beer.
tirade, against Dark, you came to join my alliance for a little bit. Like I said, I really don't care. It's all good. I just look. I just hate this attitude, and unfortunately, it comes with either too much emotional investment in the game or too much actual investment in the game, with with people just hyper focused on this hard row target bases, all this shit. Like, my response is, look, my guys did what they did, right? They dry hit your miners to try and divert attention away from my base, because they can't do anything to the number 2 alliance. My alliance is number 42 in power. Your alliance is number 2 in power. And they did what they did to try and divert attention away from getting my base rated until I could get online, right? And then this attitude of like, you broke the rules, you raped our mothers, right? That's the attitude I hated, and I couldn't, I just couldn't stand it. And I was also heated in the moment, because that's what happens in the game. I get heated in the moment, then I do something else, and then I get this, and then fades, and like I'm over it in like an hour or two.
So the thing is, Rap, also, you can take this back. It's posted in the Galaxy chat portion of this server. If you look at the conversation that was going on, the conversation between Tech and Voter and the rest of them was pretty good until the Voter goes, Dark wasn't looking for a fight, just doing what Dark does, Raid. You got butt hurt. Sorry, dude. Shield. That's the rule. Shield or share. So the conversation didn't start turning sideways until Voter said that shit. So maybe, I don't know if that's something you guys want to speak amongst yourselves about, talking to people, you know. I mean, that's none of my business. I talk to people like that all the time. But then again, I don't represent an entire alliance. So just if that comes up and we're talking about how, you know, Tech said whatever he said, yeah, well, none of that came up until after people were, you know, started talking like that. You start talking like that to people are like, yeah, well, fuck you then. I'm just going to say whatever I want to say. You know, this is one of the reasons why I'm not a Commodore.
Not anymore, anyway.
Yeah, basically, it's like you yell at somebody and don't be surprised when they yell back.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea, and that was something when Grazi made me a Commodore. That was one thing that he stressed to me, and he said, "I understand that you are very you're short and to the point, but you need to remember, you know, when you're representing an alliance, that you can't start off things that way. No matter how correct you are, you could be right as hell, but when you put it in that way, you've already setting the stage for disaster. And here's the thing: I know that I dealt with people for a living." But I guess in the game, my mentality was that it's a game, it's not important and everything, when in actuality, yeah, you know, you have a role to play, and, you know, there is a better way to talk to people in the game. So it sort of made me connect those dots between this is just a game and how to actually speak to people in real life. So I got to credit Grazi with that.
That last week, when Beck first got rated like that, and he was telling me about it, that's the first I ever heard of this glitch, honestly. I'm like, oh shit, that sucks. And I felt bad. I really did feel bad for Tech. But Frothy Oregon, or also known as the Taupe, came into our area and was dry hitting us. I let it slide after I told Tech, just talk to the guy, educate him, have him stop. He said he would. Then a week later, happens again. But this time he's clearing all of our miners.
I feel like that's something that I would have done in the same situation if I was the little alliance and the big guys had done this to me a couple weeks in a row. I mean, I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but who gives a
Don't
shit?
get pissed off when you get hit back by us.
Right. They shouldn't necessarily get pissed off. They're already being hit by you, right? Because they're trying to defend something. This is a problem with power Also, Dark has been using glitch rating for years. It has been a known thing, but I've done it since before then as well. And it's not a value statement about whether or not it works or not. It's a useful tool when you want to raid things and you have a team that you can raid with and people have trouble beating it. So you use it. It's a good thing to use, right? The appropriate defense against that is always being shielded, Tech, but you know that, and you just don't like to always shield, and that's fine too. I don't like to always shield when I'm online either. But there are some, both, I mean, Tech, you sound just as sanctimonious as they do when you're talking about them being sanctimonious, and that's
No.
hard to
I know.
hear. I get where you're at. I'm not mad about that either. Everyone's too sanctimonious about this stuff. Like, they think that's the baseline, and if that's the case, everyone needs to step down a notch and look at themselves and realize that one of the things we don't do enough of in this game is fucking apologize and fucking self-evaluate. Now, simple stuff gets complicated over time. Complicated stuff becomes wounds and trauma low-key over time, and then people just can't cooperate anymore. And that's dumb. That's dumb.
And our entire issue with MBD is people have gotten butthurt on both sides, and nobody fucking apologizes, and nobody can get over their own fucking feelings. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
And I think go
that's
ahead.
everybody. Yeah, Handy's right. I mean, both of them are right. I'm chiming in. I'm doing to piggyback off what the captain said. But it is. I've been guilty of it. I mean, people have seen very recently that I had to put my fucking foot in my mouth because I kind of got a little out there. I had some other stuff going on, so it was kind of one of those half paying attention. I had some other shit going on, but either way, there's no excuse. But the difference is that I have apologized, and historically on this show, there have been several times when we've been on air recorded, and I've apologized for things that I've said and retracted some statements that I've made. But the problem is that most people are not like me. As we were discussing before we started recording, that I know that I have certain things that affect the way that I speak and the way that my brain works. So I'm aware of that, and so I also listen to what other people say, and it's like I tell people, look, if one or two people are telling you something, you take it with a grain of salt, but if you have the overwhelming majority of people that are saying something is a problem, it's probably time to sit down and maybe reflect, look at it, decide, and maybe it's time to apologize and realize that you were just wrong, and let's move on.
Right. And I think there's a really good recent example here, like when most in NONA came to an agreement about switching 3-star territories back and forth, right? And we were a couple of cycles into it, and things got weird. We put MBD in for a week while NONA was out wandering around during one of the turf war events. That put NONA off on its feet a little bit, and that's perfectly fine because we didn't communicate it to them that's what we were going to do with that week. And what would the natural thought might be that maybe MBD took it from most. We don't know what's going on. There was no communication there, right? So then when it went to NONA, they had it for a couple of weeks, and when they were going to give it back, they made the choice to keep it because they were rocked back, in a sense, on their heels with all this change and all the other BS that had been going on, which made a lot of sense to me because I had been listening and I have watched how all of the different alliances behave, and I've been in a few of them at this point. And sometimes there's this immediate knee-jerk response to more powerful alliances making decisions that seem like they're unilateral server-wide mandates, which is not the case whatsoever. It's usually not the case anyway. There have been some instances, but in general, right? So when most was mad, they weren't going to get their thing back. The deal was broken, and it became it's really easy to fall into this rut of like, well, that's just them being them, and we can't trust anyone ever, and all things are bad and terrible. That's not the case. There was a lot of context there that was hard to get through, and I might have left the alliance for a few days to calm my shit down because I was pissed because people weren't listening rationally. And if nothing else, I tend to try and be rational. I wasn't mad at my people, and I wasn't mad at NONA. I was mad that people weren't talking to each other. So some time goes by, and we get approached by NONA, who says, we're sorry, we did this wrong. You did have this deal with us, and we want to make that right. There was other context of the conversation, and there was maybe like a 3-hour voice chat, which was really tedious. But in the end, the right thing to do there was say, we're sorry about that one thing. Okay, we're sorry about this other thing. Let's go back to what we were trying to do and reestablish normalcy. And it's working. It worked yesterday. I mean, I don't know what will be in 2 weeks, right? But I can tell you that we'll want to give it back. And we'll want to continue to do the nice thing, right? because that makes it easier. The less time we spend on all of these fucking tedious back and forth, high key, emotional stress, no one's ever wrong, I'm always right nonsenses, the worse the game becomes for everybody. That's the real server problem in the background, not, oh no, server merges are coming and other people are going to come and get us. No, not being able to talk to each other is the real problem.
Yeah, it definitely all comes down to communication at the end of the day. And me and Darius are of like mind in that, and it's hard, very, very difficult to get our respective alliances to sit back and just listen. Very difficult.
Maybe it's easier in most, maybe it's not. I mean, I'm picking on you though, of course, right? I mean, at the end of the day, there's credibility, and there's, you know, the amount of credibility that I can spend out of my bucket to tell people to like, oh, whoa, hold on, let's do this the right way. And sometimes I don't want to spend any more mana on this, and I'm going to go on a break. So that I don't lose my temper on my people, because losing my temper is Old Testament for me, and I believe in salted earth and the lamentations of their women. So I don't like to lose my temper. I don't want to be that guy. So I'll take a quick walk around and go visit TBD, which was fun. But yeah, I want people to be cooperative to a point. Like, I don't want to be wronged and passive. There's a difference, right? But we didn't lose anything in the Tholis and Makala transition. We kept a 3-star territory. If we had lost one, like if it had been we were in a rotation like some of the other alliances are, the reaction would have been very different. I would have felt wronged and you know, et cetera. But that was not the case. We still had a thing that was equal to the thing that we had been trading. That's important context, right? Because if NONA had done a thing that had taken something away, obviously I would have been responded differently, but that wasn't what happened. So there's context here. This is not rolling over for the big guy. This is not exceeding to power to just listen to someone. And I know we're way off topic tech, but I think the point here too is if Dark keeps shitting on your base, then they're going to either keep shitting on your base so you shield all the time, which is dumb. I hate that too. Or you got to find a way to talk it out for your people. Or Dark has to get the fuck over the fact that sometimes people try hit your shit and you don't need to roll 50 assholes into their territory every time. Because that's really stupid. It's really stupid. But it's also kind of fun because I've been there and done it too.
I want to take an opportunity before we continue while we still have everyone's attention. So you may have seen mention of the air quotes VIP server. We just came up with that name, right? So Trek Talk we do have our own Discord server. It's not to take away from anything. We're still recording here on this server. But there are a lot of people on this server who have no interest in listening to the show. They have no interest in listening to the show. They don't really care about it. They don't like it, whatever the case may be. But we also wanted to have a place that we were in complete control of. That's nothing against the administrators and the owners of this server. We just wanted a place that we could say, this is ours. We have complete control over what goes on, channels that are created, administrative actions, and all those things. So there is a server. I have invites turned off for it. I'm pretty sure that works. So the only invites that you should be able to get is going to be for myself, Handy, and Tech. So if you're interested in joining the server, send one of us a message. It's only for like listeners and contributors, so we don't want just randos on there because, like I said, I mean, it's specifically for the show. And we have some other channels in there where we discuss some other things. But anyway, it's just a space for us and our listeners and contributors and people that come up on stage and talk to us, to where if we want to make an announcement to everyone or have just a specific thing where it's just for people that are listeners of the show. Because there's plenty of times where we'll go on our podcast chat and there's people that don't even listen to the show that like to chime in and give their 2 cents. And honestly, if you don't listen to the show and you're not aware of the situations that are going on, we're not really interested in hearing anything that you have to say because you're not doing anything. You're not even a part of the conversation. You're just jumping in to say what you want to say. So that's why we have this. So reach out to one of us, let us know, and we'll get you an invite. Anyway, that's it.
Thank you, Kirk, for that PSA. Anyway, so coming back around to my point, one of the things that I do find in this game, and I'm like Kirk, right? With all the stuff I got going on at work, it's being on the game, on at the game, very, very difficult. But one of the things I do like to do is I do like to see my base getting hit by higher level players to see how well it can withstand any attacks. And that's where I find my fun in the game. And it's hard because usually during the day, I'm unshielded. You know, most of the time, most people leave me alone. Some of the times, people try and hit me. That's what I find most about the game is my own base defense. That gets me excited. Everything else about the game is utter garbage. I hate grinding. I hate mining. I hate doing these stupid missions. Like domination events are terrible. Like it's not fun. The game is not fun to me. But when somebody is attacking me, that is fun. I like that, right? And it became a lot less fun because of this glitch where if your base gets hit, then your game crashes. That's not fun. That's a product. That's a poor product on the market. I hope they fix it soon. It doesn't seem to be that it's in the works. I don't know. Who knows, right? That's a Scopely thing to do, and who knows who Scopely really is. But to go back to Dark for a little bit, Rap, I have no ill will towards Dark, right? You guys do what you do. I do what I do. We just go off on our beaten paths, right? That's how I see it. Were we wrong that we broke row? Sure, I'll say we were wrong. Yeah, Toph broke row. He hit you guys dry hit. All right, yeah, my bad. Right. Rap's giving me the silence.
You Tech, you know that, buddy. You know I plan on visiting you here in a few months. So yeah, there's no ill will for us either, and I agree. I don't understand why my team is picking on you. And I will say they're picking on you because their team is so small, and for them to keep finding your base or keep finding your team, they're actively looking for you because I never see you out and about.
Well, again, I don't move my base for the very reason that I don't feel like I need to hide. Like I don't feel like I need to go throughout the galaxy thinking I'm being hunted. Like if people want to know, I'll post my coordinates in GC. I think everybody knows I live in Kepler. I don't think that's a secret. So that's the part of the game I enjoy. And like I said, Rap and I are friends. You know, we've met each other before. We've had a couple beers, shared a few stories. You know, I play with his kids. You know, great girl that he has. You know. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, like we had you set on crossbars, you had us with Spock hands, and then I don't know. I think one of my comms said something in Galaxy Chat on Jaeger, and I think that kind of all fizzled out at that point. So it is what
Your
it
one
is.
mom PM me and was apologizing and said, "Hey, I set everything back to neutral." Like, okay. I said I did the same, and he's like, "Was this?" He said, "I sent the team in there sent Frothy Oregon, which is Taupe, in there to hit you guys because you were hitting tech space to try to distract you." I was like, "Okay, I understand that." I said, and then we started talking about you. I was like, "Yeah, Tech's a good friend of mine. He's a great guy. Blah 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 blah." And he's like, "Yeah, he is really nice." I said, "Yeah. Did he ever tell you that me and him got hung out and got drunk together?"
It all leads back to drinking, doesn't it?
It does. It does. With me, it does. But no, uh, that's all I got to say on it. I was more trying to figure out what the hell he was talking about with the war on the podcast, but now it makes sense.
Kirk, this is the one time your clickbait actually worked.
Well, I haven't really tried to engage in it. I think I'm gonna start doing it. I think if I actually put my mind to it, I'm pretty damn good at it.
Yeah,
Just one cool trick to be really annoyed in Star Trek Fleet Command.
All right, so before I go, because I gotta get going, I do want to have a shout out to server 38. That is the Trivial Pursuit server, and it seems like he's up to his dirty old tricks. The Borg Coalition on server 38 has combined into one alliance to try and take down their number one alliance, which is called SEYC. And they're on the brink of another kind of coalition war to see who's on top. So I invite anybody, especially Trivial Pursuit from server 38, to come on the show and talk about it. I think that would be fun.
Don't tease me.
Goddamn.
Occam's, you're always teased, man.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Anyway, now that we got that bullshit out of the way,
You guys have a great
How-
day as we go.
Later, taters. So, how is
Actually, I
now
had a
that
question for Handy, and maybe Darius knows this, but yesterday in GC, there was some weirdness going on with Lethal and Nona, and then MBD chimes in terms of like piling on Nona. What is up?
Yeah, that was weird.
What was this? What was this non-aggression pact that you and Lethal had, and what the hell happened?
Yeah, it should start with that, Handy. The deal about the thing last time with Lethal, right?
Yeah. Well, so we've had lots of issues with Lethal having some perceived issue, right? Like this would be the third time that he's flown off the handle and started dry hitting our entire alliance. So there's a history of this. It's not something new. And every time we don't retaliate against Dark, we don't retaliate against even Lethal. Every time we come and we try and talk to him and talk him off a ledge. And this last third time, we just said, you know what? You broke the agreement. You made an agreement with us to never touch any of our people. Like that was the agreement. It was pretty simple. It was like under any circumstances for 1 month, you agree to not touch any of our players. Super simple.
What was the initial perception that led him to dry hit or hit your alliance? That's the part that I'm kind of missing.
What do you
What
mean?
is the perception that he thought of you or whatever, that he starts
Oh,
hitting?
so what happened is Incho sent him a message and said, look, man, you broke the agreement. Look, I don't even want to see you. Like, I'm upset with you. I don't want to see you. If you come up and you grind next to me in double D space, I'm going to blow you up. And so he did. And then Inch blew him up twice. Just twice. Worship on worship violence, not against Roe. Kind of a dick move, but, he's been, major dick in the past, so shouldn't be out of the realm of normal for him. And so, yeah, Inch blew him up a couple times. He got upset about it and said, I'm just trying to grind here. And Inch said, you know what, go grind somewhere else, and I'll leave you alone. I don't want to see you, and I'll leave you alone. He didn't like that. He wants to do it his way. And so he got upset about it, and then he started blowing everybody up. So that's what happened.
What was the first time?
First time, he was raiding one of our assault base, and we came and defended. And he got upset that we defended. Like, genuinely, that was it. He was upset that we defended the base. That was the only explanation he could give. He started dry hitting all of us for it.
well, he's the way that he put it, and this is what I gleaned. So I don't know. I don't even think he's a member of this server anymore. If he rejoined, I don't know. But he accused Nona, which I disagree with, but he accused Nona of stealing his raid, is the way that he was thinking. But it's not really. I would argue when somebody's an ally that it's a little different. If an ally moves in. I see Mud says, wasn't he told go ahead because Chief doesn't shield? Yeah, that's fine and all, but here's the deal. If that happens and then somebody from Nona comes up and says, hey, well, wouldn't you rather us take it so at least it stays within allies? So that's kind of a moot point. It doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? Because I guarantee if it was, MPD or whatever, and that was going on, and then you guys come in and took it over, and we were like, hey, but somebody from MPD said this, it would be the same thing. So it doesn't matter. So I think it's a moot point. I think that's what was going on.
Yeah, you're right. That's right.
And I don't know, but the things that he said after that in GC, and I don't know, I wasn't there, but as someone who has experience with, severe inebriation, that looks like some stuff that I would have said back in the day when I was hammered. So I don't know if maybe he was a little, like, having a good time and maybe, got away from it. I don't know. It's speculation, of course. I don't know. I could be 100%
It's not
wrong.
speculation. It's 100% fact because we talked to him that evening, me and Inch, and he was absolutely hammered.
Oh, okay. So he was shithoused and he was just kind of okay. Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
he was
then
also
that
shithoused last night as well when Inch talked to him.
so there's a trend, I guess. I don't know.
Yes, and it's okay. I mean, it's the weekend, whatever. I'm not judging him for it, but he was shithoused.
No,
So
no,
that
no.
might
I'm not
it might
talking about alcohol.
explain some of his, his state of mind, I guess.
That's all I was saying. I wasn't saying anything about the alcohol. I don't give a shit how much you drink. But what I'm saying is, it seems like that seems to be the catalyst for when crazy things happen here.
Correct. It seems to be a pattern.
That damn
Yeah.
brown
Well,
liquor has started more wars than Server 45.
You get tequila.
he was also talking
Always
shit
the
about
brown liquor.
Go ahead, Tech.
I said he was also talking shit about our podcast, which I chose not to engage in. And then he was talking shit about me, which again I did not engage
I think he was just talking shit to anybody that would listen. I think
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what it
He
was.
was. What did they? You remember the Tim Allen movie Santa Claus? Was he lashing out irrationally?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that bullshit happened. How has everyone enjoyed this arc thus far? I feel like it picked up a little bit. I think the event store was pretty spot on. I think the event store was actually fantastic. It was the best one we've ever had.
I'm not done talking about Lethal. I want to know why. I want to know why people felt the need to defend him, like he needs defense or something. Like I don't get it. I do know this as well, that MBD felt it was okay that he participate when he was there in a takeover. I completely agree with under normal circumstances, but he had agreed not to hit any NONA ships, and then conveniently forgot about that fact.
Some dead air.
Bud, do you want to come up and talk?
Or anybody else from MBD? Hell, even dark people were jumping in chat, trying to get a piece of the blah blah action.
The blah blah action.
Well, Jump Darked in to defend Lethal because he's from Dark, right? So they're going to defend one of their own, which I understand with. You defend your teammates.
Yeah, of course. Lethal's a great guy. I like Lethal.
I don't have a
But god damn it, when he's drunk, he doesn't listen to anybody.
No, and Mud, that comment, man, I'm gonna go ahead and say you're full of shit for that, man. You're talking about someone's level of sobriety when they aren't here to defend themselves, and then claiming you're not judging them. Nah, you can make an observation, dude, and not be judging someone. So don't conflate those two for the purpose of creating shit. Just knock that off. It's ignorant, and you're making yourself look foolish. Don't do that.
Well, I have a comparison for you, Mud. You said that you've been visited by Inch, like cracking bases and stuff. Inch has gone in and for maybe like an hour or something, he'll come crack bases. But you've got somebody in your alliance that's hit about 60 bases in the past day and a half, 2 days. We're not screaming about that.
So the latest podcast I released, and it's 2 months late, and thanks Boom, by the way, for doing the editing, was when what was it? MBD sent a couple of guys to Bold for a territory takeover, and apparently issues ensued with NONA and MBD. Now I realized it was recorded a couple months ago, but as I threw out in my post, it seems kind of relevant to today because the substantive issues haven't really changed since that time. So it's interesting. I think it's just a matter of the human condition where, because we're humans, these problems keep popping up. I equate it to like two two like baseball teams, like say Yankees and Red Sox. They just hate the uniform. They don't really care about who's playing for them. You know what I mean? So I think if you have a NONA tag or an NBD tag, in that instance, it's just going to be animosity regardless, just because of the tag, not necessarily because of the people.
Yeah, you know, is what it is. Although I just really, truly just think it's very interesting that these people that just keep chirping in chat over and over and over again won't come here and go on stage and talk.
Well, again, when you're, as I've said before many times, when you have anonymity behind a keyboard, it's a lot easier to sling mud. And I don't mean that as a pun.
Yeah, it is. You know, which is why I said in GC last night, you know, if you have the balls, come here and talk about it. Be a man. State your opinion. Have a healthy debate.
Or a woman, you know.
If he wants to do that,
Not just being a man. We got to be inclusive here. Come on now.
man or woman.
We got some players with some fierce ovaries. There's some fierce women in this game.
Yeah, we do.
But no, it. Wait, wasn't Epi supposed to be here?
Oh, I know the reason behind it, AK. There's no doubt that Inko picks lots of fights. Lots of fights. He absolutely does stuff constantly that warrants a reaction. But a measured reaction would be nice to see, instead of just an overwhelming reaction. It's like people just get so offended when Inko does stuff, and if it was some other player, it would just be a normal reaction. But because it's Inch, people just have overwhelming reactions to it.
You know, that's common across servers. There's this.
I know it is, but I just wish people would check themselves and just realize that they're doing it. Would be nice.
Yeah. I think there's just this fallacy that, you know, it's that Spider-Man bullshit, Uncle Ben. Oh, with great power becomes great responsibility. Nah, with great power just becomes great power.
Well, my question then on the flip side is, if I'm looking on the other side of the glass, it's like, why does Inko do stuff to provoke a reaction?
Probably trying to entertain himself. Handy can speak to that.
Well, again, I don't. There's nothing bad about Inko. I mean, hell, I like Inko. He's been on the show. He's a great dude. I can talk to him just fine. Is just at some point about when you're playing the game, just like I had, just like Rap and I, we went through a couple of things. Like if you're doing something inflammatory, you're going to provoke a response. Granted, because he's the biggest power guy on the server, it's a little more inflammatory coming from him because he's got the power to do what he wants.
Yeah, no. I wish I knew. I just don't get it.
I think there's no challenge in the game, so he's finding his own fun.
Well, yeah, and he's gonna be level 60 and have his first epic level 60 ship here in like a week or so, and then he's gonna be real bored.
And you know, there's kind of a baked in when you're a whale. You know, I know for myself, I'm not an Inch's level, but you know, I generally leave people alone. I don't go instigate a lot of stuff anymore. For a while, but if somebody messes with me, I'm like, are you out of your mind? You know, this is one of the reasons that I'm this powerful in this game. So I don't have to put up with little fucking shitbirds like you.
Yeah.
And to some point, I think it's also kind of a jealousy thing, right? That some people do have the disposable income to generate bigger and better things for themselves and for their alliance. And I don't feel like it's like a seething jealousy, but it's an NA jealousy, right? We all experience that, right?
I think it is a seething jealousy. I think it is a seething jealousy that has a veneer of, yeah, but it doesn't bother me.
I guess I think it, for a lot of people, I don't think it's jealousy so much as it is just a feeling of hopelessness. Like if you have to go up against somebody, you can't do anything about what they're doing. Like there's nothing you can do. It's just hopelessness, and that's going to cause people to lash out. I get that. I've explained as much to Inch. I'm like, people are going to overreact to anything you do because there's nothing they can do. Like, what are they going to do? If I had to go up against Inch, I mean, I'd feel the same way. Like, there's nothing I can do. What am I going to do against his big ass ships? Nothing.
It's the built-in power disparity into this game.
Hey,
That's all it is.
Who is Stonee? Who is that?
He's from MBD.
Okay, well that explains why he's all super defensive about us talking about Lethal being doing things while he's hammered. Okay, sorry, I didn't know who that was.
He's getting defensive about being hammered.
Yeah, he says that that I live in an imaginary life, and that I was what did you say, man? I don't know. Said something about, I don't know. He said that basically I'm a bad person because I mentioned that it seems to be a trend that when he's I said it seems to be when he does the things that he does, with the going around and getting upset and dry hitting people, we say that when you guys are, at least you said both times previously you've talked to him that he's just been absolutely hammered and told you as much and told you that he had been drinking and admitted that he was extremely intoxicated and that we mentioned it. And then he said that when I'm basically that I shouldn't do that and that's not right and stuff like that. I mean, he's saying it right now here in the chat, and that
That not right.
Yeah, he says. I said it's called an observation. He says not when you say it's a regular thing and write it off as normal. I thought you realized this game had people. Some people need help, and you're making your observation isn't helpful. Sounds like the same sanctimonious bullshit you're spitting. And yes, I'm ignoring his health for my observation, and you talk shit. You label it as an observation, and say what you observed isn't offensive because it's the truth. Look, here's the deal, Cupcake. Sometimes when you do things, people are going to call you out. And it may be offensive to you because it's a harsh reality that you have to face, that you may be doing something and you have a pattern of behavior. So it's, sometimes people call me on things and I'm forced to acknowledge it. I don't think it's offensive. So,
I mean, I think it would be wonderful,
say what?
I think it would be great if Lethal would hear us talking about this and then maybe hopefully realize that maybe I do need help. I don't know. I don't know his situation. I don't know if he drinks every day or if he only drinks on the weekends and at night. I have no idea. Some people can hold their liquor, some people can't.
Where's he at?
I don't know if it's a problem for Lethal, but I've heard from other people that he has self-admittedly said it's a problem, and I don't know if that's true because I didn't hear it from his mouth. But
Let's change the subject, guys.
yeah, okay.
I've invited Stonee up so he can explain. He's absolutely correct. He deserves to have his voice heard. So
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, first of all, I like your cupcake thing. Takes one to know one, so that's cool. But the whole point of my reasoning for this is that if he's such a problem with his drinking and he's done this 3 times and that was the reason, yeah, your observation is correct. It is the truth. But has anybody asked him if he needs help? Has anybody, say, hey, man, what's going on with your real life? Because obviously this game, you're fucking up and you're dry hitting people and you're doing this shit. Like, get him some help.
He's been asked, but of course we don't talk about it here because it's private shit.
Yeah, but not if it's for help.
He's not here to talk about it. So we can't talk about his private shit here without him being here.
Here's the deal, real quick, Stonee. I see what you're saying, and had you maybe that's what you meant, and maybe it was misunderstood, but it seemed like you're coming at me sideways. So of course I responded in kind. What you say is absolutely true. I'm not going to deny that. And I think what Handy's trying to say is that the intimate conversations, because here's the thing, those things that he posted on GC, he does it every time that this type of this behavior happens. So those things are public. You've made it public. You've posted it in GC. You've talked about it in Discord. You see what I'm saying? Those things are public. And I think what Handy's trying to say is that people that have reached out to him privately in PMs, that is what is not discussed, because that's the private conversation. No part of that was public. You see what I'm saying?
That's correct, and you're right. But the thing that bothers me is that you're making the observation just to make the observation. The observation is fine, but if it's in for getting him help, then it should be talked about to get him help. Even though you say it's private, people reached out, that's fine. But just to make the observation and move along like it's normal, that's not.
So you're saying because I didn't bring up the fact that maybe that should be a thing and maybe we should think about that, it seemed a little one-sided.
Correct. It seemed like because he's not here to defend.
Okay, so that makes sense. I see what you're saying. Again, the way that you went about it, you rubbed me the wrong way. But now that I'm hearing you,
I was trying to get you to get a response. You know.
I monitor this. I mean, all you got to do is just at me. But no, that makes sense. And I would like to say that if that came off for anybody that's listening, if it came off sideways, I absolutely did not mean it that way. As someone who is, if you were listening before the podcast, as someone who is a reformed alcoholic, the help is absolutely necessary in most cases. I had help from people close to me and people who had dealt with it. So absolutely. You're correct that I probably should have brought that up. For me, I guess my thinking was that I didn't want to delve too far into it because, again, the more you talk about it, the worse it sort of seems that you're sort of judging someone, and that was not the intent. I was merely making an observation. I did not mean it that way. So if anybody took it that way, given the nature of the situation, I apologize.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Let me cut everybody off right here. Okay, we're not talking about any kind of substance abuse. The whole point I brought this up was the behavior in game, not the behavior outside the game. All right, let's just keep it in game. All right, whether something is influencing the outside of the game that goes into the game, that's none of our concern. And if somebody does need help, then they absolutely do need help. That's neither here nor there. So keep it in game.
I'm sorry, Terry. One more quick thing. Have you ever managed people at work?
Me? Me?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You're going to manage it, supervisor,
I mean,
whatever.
Yeah.
He owns a company.
Well, there you go.
We're all adults in our mid 40s related, bro.
The point is, the only point I'm trying to make here is that your employees bring to work their problems, so you cannot separate this game from real life, man.
I would agree to that to an extent. Absolutely.
I would second that.
Yeah, but I don't want to devolve into people's personal lives, like Handy said, when they're not.
You don't have to. All I'm saying, all I was saying is that it seemed one-sided. That's all. Now that you addressed it, Strange Kirk, it's fine. But you're right. We shouldn't pull out, personal shit on here, but at least acknowledge that, it's not just, it might be a problem. Maybe, put it out here and for people to see that way. Somebody else can reach out to him, whatever. The point is, you can't just say, oh, it's behavior. He was drunk again. It's normal, blah, blah, blah. And then make it seem like that's just the way he is because he might have a problem. So that's all I was saying. But thanks for explaining, Strange.
Yeah, I mean, and he may or may not have a problem. I don't know. From what I have heard talked about, he may. But none of my business.
Yeah. Moving on, you can point out.
All I can speak to is what I have personally heard from him. And every time we do have issues and outbursts, and we get in a voice chat to try and handle it right then and there, to try and, to listen to his gripes and to try and fix it or apologize or whatever needs to be done to resume normal play for everybody, he's highly intoxicated and makes it very difficult to get anything done. So it's just an observation.
I will speak from experience that some of my personal things that I deal with, whether it be business related or family related or whatever, sometimes it spills over into the game. And it's not just the game, it's how I deal with people one-on-one, and I'm speaking to people. So when you're dealing with the game and a dry hit, that's the game. When you're actually speaking to someone, and I have absolutely been guilty of this, when you talk to somebody, whether it's through the game chat or Discord or a phone call or in person, that's personal. That's real life. So it definitely absolutely affects it. And I would argue that there have been several times where I have done things that I shouldn't have, or at least said things that I shouldn't have, based on some things that have spilled over. And you can, just because we're playing a game and we're talking to people in a game, doesn't mean that we're not talking to people. And yeah, exactly. Darius goes, cough, cough, many of us. Remember that just because it is a game, we always talk about how it's just a game, that it is people. So if you insult someone, which I have personally been insulted by Lethal several times, that's a personal attack. That's person to person. That has nothing to do with this anymore. You're now elevating it. So it's hitting someone's base repeatedly is one thing in a game, but then when you take to PMs or voice chat and you start berating people and insulting them and calling them this and that, that's a completely different story. Anyway, I'm done.
I am on the wrong server, man. We do not get any of this entertainment where I'm at.
How about that Van Arken event store, guys?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get into earlier, man. I thought this event store was probably the best event store that we've had. There was all kinds of shit.
Certainly the loot opportunities are some of the best we've ever seen. What you can accumulate just through active play, the ponderance of events with small and medium amounts.
You don't need to get like real high placed on leaderboards to get big chunks. There's a couple of those opportunities, but it wasn't like 40% of the materials you could get.
Yeah.
It wasn't previous. It was a really generous event store with some pretty solid options.
I think I would have liked to have seen one more big AOB competition for a big amount. Would probably be my only minor criticism, but I loved how there were small amounts of loot scattered everywhere, and an active player at any ops level could get massive amounts of loot just by playing their game.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I also like the quiz ones. I like the quiz questions, even though they were kind of dumb in some cases. I like the Academy thing. I like that they took stuff that's not like really Star Trek, but that's specific to the game, like knowing Pike Moro-Chen, or those are the kind of things that this game does exactly 0% of as you're coming up in it. Like, you don't learn how to manage your ships and your crews intelligently through the play of the game, right? You have to kind of get it either through osmosis, guesswork, or listening to someone else talk about it that is not a content creator.
I was amazed that Scopely knew the answers to their own questions.
Right?
Yeah, really. Scopely, I will say, for as much crap as we talk about Scopely, here in the past few months, the last arc wasn't all that great, but the past few months, they've really been stepping it up, and I've definitely seen a difference in the resources available, and and it could just be a normal plan that they had for economy scaling, but I will say that some good officers, Gowron, Martok, and Bael, if you guys, guys and gals, you definitely need to try to bring those up. Those are going to be really good officers, Worf, all those things. I think some really good positive things are happening. And of course, we're always going to deal with the bugs and things like that, but trying to look on the positive, it's definitely leaps and bounds ahead of what we were dealing with it even a year ago. So
they're definitely dialing in the battle pass.
Yeah, and I really like the breadth of the store, because some of us forget that there are people who, they just missed out on this officer or that officer, they're a few shards or whatever, or ship, and the amount of different stuff they had in the store so that people could finish off this or that. I thought that was I thought this has been their best store by far.
As long as they fix the rating glitch, I'm all happy with it.
I had a guy in my alliance that he used his loot. He unlocked 5 officers. Now, granted, they're all tier 1, but those were 5 officers he didn't even have unlocked, and he was able to just finish each one off with his loot.
Yeah,
that was very exciting for him.
Yeah, it was awesome for me. I was able to get my second Meridian, which was a game changer for me. I was able to get I was able to unlock 3 or 4 officers because I was able to tier up Gowron and Martok, and then I was able to unlock Jayla and some other stuff I was able to get. I was able to get a bunch of research for the credits for the Orion Syndicate. So Definitely some good stuff.
Do you, Tech, do you want some illumination on the history of what's been going on with this rating glitch?
Yeah, go ahead. Feel free.
So I feel a little bad about it, a little conflicted, which is pretty rare for me. I'm pretty it's been going on for about, I'm gonna say 3 weeks. And it was, for the longest time, it was not common knowledge. It came up on the whale server. And on Scopely's VIP server. And we have been railing against the Scopely as a company, and on the TM's asked to fix it because it's huge. It's a game-breaking glitch, and Scopely usual. Okay, I'll pass it on to the team, and they really did not realize how bad it was. It had an evolution of their acceptance, and it was like, oh, it's only happening on iOS devices, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's happening on Android, and it's happening on PC. I'm talking to the CM. She gets me in PMs because I'm trying to take care of one of my players that got raid glitched, and they're like, no. I'm like, no. And here's this player's on Android. This isn't an iOS thing. And here's some more players from my alliance. Here's their tags, and it happened to them on PC. This glitch is farther ranging than you know. And for myself, I found myself with a dilemma. So, things come up a lot on the Whale VIP server, and especially for bugs and glitches, the dilemma is, do you put that information out? Because it's a double-edged sword. I can put that information out because I want my people to protect themselves. But in a case like this, where it's a very exploitable glitch with a hefty negative attached to it when people do exploit it, if I put that information out so people try to protect themselves, that information is now out in the wild, and it's going to find its way into the hands of even more bad actors that will exploit that glitch. So I didn't know to share go blind. I'm like, I should warn all my people, but I also shouldn't facilitate the knowledge of this exploitable rating glitch. So I felt myself conflicted. Do I go onto my server and yell from the rooftops that it's going on for people to protect themselves, or my hope was, and what I eventually did was I kept quiet on it with the misguided hope that Scopely would fix it quickly, which Scopely, you have not.
Here's the problem, though. Many people need to be affected and complain for Scopely to lift a finger. So, if anything, tell people, and a bunch of people will get hurt by it and complain, and that will get the only thing that will get Scopely to do anything.
Yeah, the preponderance of injury in a short period of time for a large amount of people would be the ultimate trigger for Scopely, even if a small number of people did lose their resources and got them back.
It's just the only thing that's going to light a fire under them.
So
I think you're right.
It's also hard to.
Go ahead, Boom.
I was going to say it ultimately becomes something that's going to happen regardless. Like, it's not an exploit where if people didn't think about it, like Leslie Cheese on leaderboards, that it wouldn't naturally occur. Like, if you hit a base and they don't shield up after the 10 minutes, like, you invite your alliance and you start raiding. So you may not even know that you're bugging them. Like, you don't know that they got the notification that and they're trying to log on. You're just raiding a base. So they're going to end up getting hit with it kind of regardless.
So my experience was, apparently customer service is aware, and I would tell people that, look, if you're getting raided and you're not online, that's your fault, right? But if you're getting raided and you're trying to actively log in to either shield or repair or do anything, and that length of period takes longer than a single reboot, I would tell customer service that you had this glitch and you're affected, and how long it took, and to please get it fixed. Now, I didn't ask I didn't ask for compensation. I really didn't. I made it a point, and Occam's, you saw in my note to the community manager, I told him I'm not asking for the compensation that I lost, but they did refund it anyway, which I thought was actually very nice of them.
Would suggest
So
people, if you get hit by this glitch, absolutely immediately file a ticket and then go to Scopely's official server, look over to the right and find one of the community managers or the devs and then do the ticket first and then follow it up with the community manager or dev.
yeah, I would agree. And it is well within your right, if you can't get your shield on, or you can't log back on, it is well within your right to ask for that amount back.
I would say definitely don't be afraid to put in that ticket too, because they do log your login attempts. I know, because they reached out to me one time when they thought that my login attempts looked strange. So if they see you continually trying to log in, they'll know that, okay, this person really was actively trying to get on, and they couldn't. So don't be afraid that they're just going to ignore you or whatever. Like, they can check it pretty easily, and
Yeah.
I feel like they should definitely give you your resources back. It's a known issue. So.
And yeah, they have the ability, as they communicated to me, they have the ability to scan your time that you've been rated and calculate the amount of resources that have been lost. And the worst part of it is when you have these max amalgams running around and you're stocked with resources, like, that shit drains quick. Especially if you got a higher level with a max amalgam draining a lower level. That shit will go quick. Because like I said, I was affected by it. 20 minutes of me not being able to get online, I lost 2 billion resources. That's, combine that with a glitch where you can't get online, that's really an unfair advantage.
I love my amalgam so much.
But you make a good point with the amalgam. The implications of this glitch are higher than they were pre-amalgam.
Yeah, it's night and day. I mean, you take like 20 million a scoop, and then it goes directly to your stash, because the amalgam only holds like whatever 300,000, 400,000. So that 19.7 million goes directly into your stash, which is, first of all, just insane.
So how much worse it can be? My personal best so far is 500 million on a bonus amalgam scoop, and I'm nowhere. One of our players did a deep space raid, and his first hits with his amalgam, he was getting 2 billion plus per scoop.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, I have to take my leave. I will turn it over back to Kirk and Handy to continue with the episode. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks for chatting. See you guys later.
Cheers, Tech.
Take care, Tech.
Now that we got that guy out of the way.
Yeah, he's just a party pooper. Keeping us on track. How dare he?
What's been happening in the game? Let's see. We talked about events. We talked about the bug. We talked about the loot. What did you guys think about the events that were in this final arc of the Battle Pass?
I thought they were all right.
They were decent. I mean, they all paid relatively well for the amount of effort you had to put in.
Honestly, I thought they were pretty damn easy.
I would quibble. It's not a huge thing, but Scopely, don't put a grinding event directly after another grinding event.
I mean, but what choices do they have?
Well, they can. I'm just saying not have grind. I'm not saying don't have grinding events. I'm just saying break them up. Don't put them back to back. That.
I mean, there's not a whole lot to this game. Not really. There's PvP. There's grinding event. There's raiding.
Yeah, but 2 ALB grinding events back to back, day to day.
Oh, it's a little bit much. I agree.
Put it somewhere else in the schedule. I'm not saying take it out. I'm not saying the events are bad. I'm just like,
Well, it just shows you how lazy they are. It's just copy paste constantly.
yeah, I don't know what calculus they used to break in the events up, but I'm like, putting 2 A or B grinding events from day to day is not the wisest choice.
No, not really.
Unfortunately, this is the way.
Yeah. Well, because they don't play, so they don't understand the player fatigue. That an all day grinding event for the alliances that are going to go all in on that, and the personal screen time toll of just guys mind-numbingly grinding shitty hostiles all day long, and generally that's hostiles that aren't advancing your gameplay. You ain't getting rep, you ain't getting loot. It's all about the leaderboard. And and even the leadership fatigue, because you're trying to keep your people motivated, grinding, and focused, and winning. And then it's finally fucking over. Oh fuck! Now there's another one.
True.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, overall,
Yeah, we know there's tons of grinding, but it is specific to the ALBs where, okay, in order to be the top alliance, when you have to do that 2 days in a row, it starts to get old.
Yeah.
But in general, the events this go around have been pretty awesome.
I agree.
I like the way that this event was like there was no whale scaling in the grind events here in this one. Where it was 50 points or 100 points. Just do it. You could run a bunch of ships in a zone with tiny ships if you really really wanted to just grind points, etc. And that those events are flatter, meaning that like a medium sized alliance that's highly motivated can do just as well as a big alliance that's lazy.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate events like that, and we hadn't had a good flat non-whale scaled grind in a while, and it was nice because we could place well.
I think the Icarus is probably the last one that stands out in my mind.
That's where I would go to. Yeah.
But I believe that there needs to be an event or two that favors power, and we have that.
100%.
Cow.
100%.
Cow is completely. The whales have such an advantage in cow. It's not even funny, and I'm okay with that because I think there needs to be one, possibly two of those type of event where power gives those big alliance players, powerful alliances, an edge. But I want all of the rest of them to have that flatter scoring.
well, a lot of those old events that we have, they really need to be updated. You know, for most people, the amount of tritanium you get from the Crucible of War first place, pretty trivial. I mean, I get that from one trade in for Borg, or the swarm things, the biominerals, and so and Crucible of War lasts what, 3-4 days, so they really need to update the payouts on some of these old events that we're dealing with, because some of them just, they're not even worth it. I mean, Jesus, I mean, look at Latinum Mining Monday or Mining Monday or whatever. It's most people don't even do it. The only time I ever do it is if I happen to need to mine some Latinum that day, because I refine Latinum every day. So
I agree. They definitely need a look at scaling. But sometimes it's just the bragging rights. I go nuts on cow. That's my jam. That I'm known to my alliance. I go nuts in cow and I put up points for my alliance. And I easily spend, if we take first place, I spend 10 times plus as much crit as I get in the reward. Easy. Sometimes 20 times what first place win is. But that's a choice I make. I'm going for the bragging rights. But I would like to see, Cal certainly could use some slightly better loot
a lot of them.
for high place finishers, because that represents a lot of effort across an entire alliance generally.
Yeah. One other piece of feedback, speaking of Mining Monday, I know not a lot of
people were in. But if you were in the event for the top 2 alliances, just randomly throwing in like a grind event on a Monday during the week where some people can't get away because they're working on top of the mining event. I think that was a little short-sighted to Scopely. So my feedback to them there would be maybe next time do that on a slow day like a Sunday.
That pinnacle AOB event for the 4 top performers to then go to the finals should have been a weekend event. I mean, that was their pinnacle event. They advertised it. It was the biggest ALB. It was the biggest single source of loot in the entire battle pass system, and it required massive amounts of alliance participation to be a true competitor. They should have made that a weekend event.
Well, good talk, everybody.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, putting everybody to sleep today.
That's why the first part was very interesting, which is why I got out for the that our server that we had created. And again, if anybody joined late, there's a Trek Talk we have our own server now on Discord. We're still going to be recording here. We don't want to take anything away. The very hard work that Voter Wolf has done, and Mr. Hamster, and anyone else has contributed to getting this server to where we can utilize it to record the podcast. We're not trying to take anything away from them, but what we really wanted was a place that we had complete and total control over. And
you just wanted a place where you could post more pictures of titties.
Well, that as well, but no, I mean, we just wanted a place where we didn't have to ask somebody to do things. I mean, our permissions on this server are pretty limited, so there's a lot of things that maybe we might want to create some channels or erase some channels, or we might want to, do whatever we want to do. It doesn't matter, but it's our show, and we wanted to have a space that we had complete and total creative control over, and so we made that. So if anybody wants that, just let us know. We'll get you a PM. We just wanted a place that was just for us and the people who actually, pay attention to and support the show.
I think, having been there, I think you should rebrand already. Instead of going VIP, I think it should be the Talk Extreme server.
What is it, 1998 now?
Yeah, Tech Talk Extreme.
Why is that? Does anybody ever remember the very
Extreme
first Harold
2000.
and Kumar?
Trek Talk Extreme 2000.
Do you remember the very first Harold and Kumar?
Vaguely.
With the extreme, everything the white guys did was extreme Doritos, and everything was extreme. It was like a joke on the X Games type people, that type of thing. Anyway, that's what it made me think of. All right, I think that's pretty much it for me. Handy, do you have anything?
No, not unless anybody has any questions about, what's been happening on the server. I guess I'll check chat.
Yeah, check the chat. I will say that, folks, if we invite you up to the stage and you turn it down and say that you prefer to do text for whatever reason, if you read, I even said this to Mud, which full disclosure, I actually like Mud. I don't have a problem with Mud. In the game, we may butt heads because we differ on certain things. It actually, person to person, I don't have a problem with Mud. I actually like Mud. So, if I invite you, and this is what I said, if I invite you if I invite you to have a seat at the table and you say you're not hungry, you can't complain about missing out on the macaroni and cheese. So if we invite you up to say your piece and then you deny it, well, then forever hold your peace, because we gave you that opportunity. So, and if you hear us talking about something that involves you, or you have a comment that you want to say, just like Stonee did earlier when he wanted to, discuss with me what was going on and the things that I said, and sort of call me out on omitting some things that I said, and he was absolutely correct in doing so. Let us know. You can come up here and talk. If you have something to say, we're interested in hearing from you. Anyway, Darius, do you have any parting words of wisdom or?
Oh God, no, never wisdom from me. But no, this was a good talk. I hope folks understand that no one's really trying to be bad here. We just want to talk shit through, and sometimes that's tedious. Sometimes we're going to fight about it, but at the end of the day, they're still humans. I think we all got that, at least at a top level.
Yeah, I pretty much I can talk to most everybody here, even some of the people who have made some pretty hurtful things that they've said to me. I still am willing to talk to them. Everybody goes through things sometimes. Occam, you got anything?
I just wanted to piggyback on what you said. I came in out of the cold one day. You guys mentioned Server 45 in an older podcast, and just like a throwaway kind of statement, and that it just hit me at the right moment. I reached out to you, I reached out to Tech, and I started talking to Handy, and you guys invited me on, and you've been very welcoming. So I would say to people, if it's something that the podcast is talking about, jump in. If you make some hard statements or harsh opinions, yeah, you might be asked to explain them. You might even be asked to defend them. Not defend them, but elaborate on them. But it's not an ambush. If the host of the show can put up with my fucking rambling ass and my aggression, you know, anybody who has a piece to say should absolutely reach out to you guys.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
Yeah. First, I edit out Occam anyway, so it doesn't matter. But actually, what I did want to say, one of the things that they mentioned was, just being talked over, ignored, that sort of thing. But for the record, currently at least, I've taken over kind of editing these things, and just so you're aware, each person's your actual audio is recorded separately. So if someone's trying to talk over you, I can actually move that around a little bit to make sure when the podcast is released, what you say is heard. And I have no dog in this fight. I'm not part of. I'm not even on your server. I have no dog in the fight. So I'm just gonna move stuff so that they can hear what you say. So if you want to be heard, come up, talk. Even if someone tries to drown you out, they can't because I can control that.
Yeah.
And I listened to a lot of podcasts before I got on this podcast, and that's the cardinal sin. I mean, that's the only time I've seen that you guys as hosts have really jumped down anybody on the stage's throat. It was because they were not allowing the other people to talk and were shouting over them. And that's the only thing I've ever seen you guys get really hard edged about. And that's a good thing, because you're like, hey, everybody gets to have their voice, and you want to make sure everybody does get their voice.
One of the problems that you'll see that people who don't know, so the stupid comments from ignorant people that are, oh, you guys just talk over each other. That's stupid, blah, 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 blah. Well, let me tell you something. Number one, why don't you make your own fucking show? Okay. You're not going to. So sit down. Number one. Number two, the most important part, that was just me talking shit. The most important part is that if you're carrying on a conversation, we have 5 people on this stage. Everyone has something to say because that's how humans are. We don't shut the fuck up. That's just how we are. Number one. Number two, the second part of that is that it's very difficult to understand who's going to talk next because there's no body language to read and there's no eye contact to be made when it's all audio. So it's very hard. So a lot of people are going to talk at the same time because it's difficult to read a room. You can't read a room. It's all audio. So you don't know. So unless you've actually dealt with that in managing and hosting a podcast, your opinion is you don't know what you're talking about. You're entitled to your opinion no matter how wrong it is. And so I would definitely say please try to keep that in mind when we're talking about things that hi buddy. Oh, hold on. Do you want to say hi? Oh, okay. My son, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, what am I looking at? Red
Kirk is
block.
he's absolutely correct though. Like the amount of times that 3 people start talking at once because nobody can obviously, as he said, look at each other, and so I have to slide things around. Happens all the time. Like it's just how it is. So live, yeah, sometimes people are going to talk over each other for a moment. We'll figure it out. Somebody will stop and let someone continue. Like you will be able to speak and you'll be able to have your say.
It's interesting that when you're looking at the stage, when someone's talking, they have that little green ring, and it's the opposite. Green means stop, shut the fuck up. And then when somebody's green ring disappears, that's everybody who's been being respectful, letting the other person talk, is like, oh, it's okay. No, the green ring went away. The reverse stop is gone. I can talk, and that's you get those false starts because you got 3 or 4 people that have been waiting respectfully for the other person to shut the fuck up, and then no, you go. No, you go.
Yeah. No, and I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. My child decided to bust in here on me. No, that's exactly correct, and that's why we have so much dead air sometimes, because a lot of us are just waiting to make sure that nobody else has a piece to speak, or that we feel like we've been speaking too long, so we're trying to shut up and see if anybody else has it. And then sometimes, if nobody talks, like me, I'll try to jump in there so we don't just have a bunch of dead air, and everybody's like, "All right, well, guess show's done." So it is very difficult when you're doing audio only. I appreciate any constructive criticism, but we have been doing this show now for a year and a half or so.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of great feedback. We try to cover as many things as we can. And here's the deal: this is entertainment, people. This isn't fucking the news channel. Okay, we're not sitting here with references and shit like that. We're talking about a game, and we're talking about interactions with people. So you can come on here and say, "Oh, well, that's hearsay." Well, guess what, some bitch? It's an entertainment show. So if we want to say it, we're going to say it. It's entertainment. So if you come away from this thinking that this is how you get in your headlines, yeah, we discuss those things and we bring up and we try to introduce as much evidence as we can. But guess what? Sometimes there isn't some, and it's just a talking point. It's just a debate. So get over it. If that makes you really sensitive, then that sounds like a personal problem. So thank you for listening to Trek Talk with Tech, Kirk, and Handy. I'm Strange Kirk.
And I'm Handy.
And we'll talk to you all next time. And now we're going to jump into the after party. So, Handy, did you start this? Or are you going to finish it?
Yeah, I'm stopping it right now.
Okay. All right. We'll jump into the after show. We'll meet you all over there.